former ANZ Chief Economist Warren Hogan. Warren, do you think this is a good package we've seen from the government in this stimulus?
Yeah, good afternoon, Kieran. I do think it's a good package. It's aggressive and it touches on many of the areas of concern that we've identified around this coronavirus effect on the economy. So you're going to judge it according to how it's going to impact the economy, how it's going to impact confidence, and how it's going to impact the budget. In terms of the economy, it's quick and it's big. In terms of confidence, they're talking about it being a one-off shot and then a recovery coming through. And I think the Prime Minister tonight is going to be talking to the confidence issue more. And then, of course, in terms of the budget, everything rolls out within, by the middle of next year. So it's not going to linger and create an ongoing fiscal problem. So on all of those measures, I think it has to be regarded as a very good package.
And will it avoid recession, Warren?
Look, it's impossible to know because no one knows how severe this is going to get over the next few months, but they've done just about everything they can. My assessment of the impact in Q2 is about 0.3 on GDP. So that's going to go a long way to avoiding a technical recession. I think the bigger issue is whether or not it short circuits, the response, the loss of jobs and business failure and this sort of thing occurring as the economy softens over the weeks ahead. And I think that remains to be seen. They're doing everything they can on that front. I think the only thing they're a bit light on is the household payments. It only makes up a quarter of the package, the $4.8 billion of household payments, which is really only about 0.2, 0.3% of GDP. That's not really the go hard, go early, go households mantra. It's households, but it's not going hard. So that's the only part of the package I think has come up a bit short.
So they could have gone harder on that front. What about the jobs issue? I know you and I spoke about this earlier in the week. You said that's the key parameter. How are they going on that front to keep people in jobs?
It looks good. I mean, they're providing a lot of incentives to a lot of businesses across Australia to keep people in jobs. And, this is going to get every employer thinking twice before laying off staff. It's going to make it a very explicit decision. So, look, I think for businesses that are in good shape, this is going to go a long way to keeping people in place, at least for the next 3 to 6 months. These measures are obviously only going to last for a little while, and that should be the worst of the impact. So I think it's pretty good. One thing, though, this doesn't address is businesses that are close to insolvency, and this isn't going to change that. And that's the big uncertainty now is businesses that are just going to struggle. Were struggling prior to this, and that's where we could see some job losses.
The other question is, we've seen the turbulence, a roller coaster on the markets. Will this play any part in calming the markets?
Look, I'm not sure. I mean, we had President Trump provide his package, ironically, just an hour or so after our one, and the markets have universally disliked what he had to say. I think the economic component of that plan was very light on. It was maybe a quarter in magnitude of what our government's done compared to the size of their economy, and markets have been weak ever since. So unfortunately for our government, we don't do much to affect the state of global markets. That's really about the US and to a lesser extent places like Japan and Europe. In terms of the Australian economy, though, I think the government's done everything it can to shore up confidence in this place.
And Warren, finally, what next? What next in terms of stimulus if the situation gets worse?
So we've got one more rate cut from the RBA coming, and they're tossing around QE, which I think, as we discussed earlier in the week, I don't think is much use here in Australia, not in the short term anyway. The issue is whether there's going to have to be a fiscal package Mark II, and that'll only come if the situation deteriorates significantly. My thinking, though, is if that package is required in a month or at budget time, it's got to be all about households. It's got to be all about putting money into pockets and putting it into the economy. I think that's the next stage if things get worse.